What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so you probably haven't heard about this. And if you have heard about this, chances are you probably don't care. You probably don't care. And you're going to come to a conclusion, as is always the case in these circumstances with similar people, that somehow it's always a shakedown, or the woman is lying, or it's a nothing burger. But yet Jonathan Majors deserved to be under prison in his situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about Diddy, but Jonathan Majors, because of accusations. And y'all know I'm right. You can sit there and act like I don't have a point. But every time, excuse me, every time in these situations, it's the same play. Jared Leto, longtime actor, always looks a lot younger than his actual age, but he's actually 53 years old. But he looks like a man in his early 40s. But anyway, this news broke yesterday, early Saturday, where a story was published on Airmail, has now been all over the social media, but I don't see many videos, where 9 women claimed that the 53-year-old actor and musician behaved inappropriately toward them, some while they were still under the age of consent. The women allege a long-standing pattern of such behavior. An anonymous woman told the outlet, quote, "It's been an open secret for a long time. Among the allegations, Leto is accused of asking sexual questions to a 16-year-old girl, walking out of a room nude in front of a 17-year-old, and exposing himself and relieving himself before putting an 18-year-old's hand on his manhood." In a statement to Airmail, a representative for the 30 Seconds to Mars band member expressly denies all allegations. A representative for Leto did not immediately respond to people's requests for comment. Among the allegations featured in the report, Laura LaRue, a model who was 16 years old in 2008, recalled meeting Leto at an animal rights benefit that year and connecting with him over email before he invited her to his studio. She visited his studio in April of 2009 and recalled him allegedly flirting with her while there. A representative for Leto told Airmail that their communications contained nothing inappropriate or sexual, and that LaRue, quote, later applied to work as Mr. Leto's personal assistant, further underscoring the absence of anything inappropriate in any of their interactions. LaRue, however, denied that she applied for the position. She also alleged, per Airmail, that Leto walked out of a room nude like it was normal on one occasion when she was 17. "I thought maybe this was just what adult men do," she told the outlet at the time. One woman claimed that she was 16 years old back in 2008 when Leto approached her at Earth Cafe in Los Angeles and got her number. And she said days later, Leto called her home in the middle of the night with the weirdest, grossest voice, adding that she didn't know if he was on drugs. A representative for the actor told Airmail that Leto has not had a drink or used drugs in over 35 years. It's just a whole bunch of other, honestly, most of these stories, it's not really, I would call SA per se, but more grossed out type behavior, like, being a creep, more or less. Although the supposed self-pleasuring type thing that does move into that category. Look, I'm gonna say this, right? I do think some of these stories are embellished, And I do think that this is part of the Me Too thing. I do think some of these allegations are BS. I do. But the problem I have is not with the allegations. And I'm not on a witch hunt where some people think, oh, well, because predominantly black men are being featured, that I want white men punished. That's not it. What I want is fair representation. What I want is for these media outlets to stop favoring people that look like them, whether they're doing it consciously or unconsciously. I noticed that when, for instance, a Jared Leto or the kicker, I can't think of his name right now, with the Baltimore Ravens, or when it comes to Garth Brooks, or when it comes to anybody from a certain persuasion, whenever they accuse Robert Kraft, I notice that they get fair representation in the media. What I mean by that is, for every article that's posted that talks about, in fact, I would say it's slanted in their favor, the accused. Whenever you see an article that says that they're accused of this and that and the other, you'll see another article say Garth Brooks vehemently denies these allegations. Garth Brooks says that this is a shakedown. And an article be totally in favor or totally slanted to or presenting his argument. Whereas for Jonathan Majors, you got to go to independent, oftentimes black media to get Jonathan Majors' side of the story. TMZ, or the most you'll get is from most media outlets is one sentence in the article that says Jonathan Majors, according to his publicist, denies allegations, and then the rest of it is just a bunch of heavily detailed allegations against Jonathan Majors. It's not fair representation in the media. We get completely demonized, whereas it's more of a fair accounting. And for others, and oftentimes people tend to use more critical thinking when it comes to others. But with us, I don't know whether, it's a bit of racism or, people's prejudices, but usually an accusation is enough to warrant some people to believe it. Totally. Now, I don't think Jared Leto should go to prison, but can you at least talk about this? Can social media talk about this? Can YouTube talk about this? It's ridiculous. We are talking about an actor that was at least at one point in time an A-list actor. This ain't some fringe guy like Jeffrey Jones. This is a guy playing the Joker. You know what I'm saying? And about Jared Leto, as far as him being like a guy that like young women, very, very young women, I've heard that for years. Like I said, he looks a lot younger than his age, but Jared Leto's been around as an actor since the 90s, when he was in his early 20s. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he looks a lot younger than what he is, but he's been around forever. And, I heard back then he liked them young. When he was in his 20s, he really oftentimes under the age of consent. But, that was a different era. All I'm saying is, not saying, convict the guy, but just talk about it. So anyway, I'm going to keep abreast of this situation. More than likely, this story is going to disappear. It's not going to go anywhere. And, it's just going to be Diddy, and whatever. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it. So what you guys think?